Hi everyone, Austin with Sun Fun Kits. Today we'd just like to go over one of the new switch options that we will be having available for the V4 kits. And if you've seen our heated bag video, you might have sort of seen it. This changes up from the V3 where the switch was inside it. Instead, it now has a switch that's basically mounted on the outside of the case. So this is a little bit of overview of how the switch sort of looks like. What you'll see is that we have very similar operation to our heated bag. The two wires, a output wire, a thermal probe, and with this you can manually turn on the heating pads built into your battery, while also retaining the BMS function where it will turn on even if the switch is off but the temperature is low and you want it to charge. So this is sort of how it looks like on the outside lid. And on the inside, you can sort of see how it is. You're basically going to piggyback off the red positive and then a black negative terminal. Then you have a thermal probe. You can position it. We usually just keep it on the lid, but it can be configured. And this is sort of the output wire. By default, we have an XT30 connector, but different connectors can be done. And depending on how you have it set up, you can either be a ring terminal or a lug. So that's a little bit of how the yellow one looks like. That's a little bit of how the black one looks like. I do have a little preference to yellow, but they all sort of work the same. Now let's sort of see how this switch actually works. So to simplify things, there's really not going to be any more settings. Select your settings. There, a couple of settings are built in, and that's all that really is. So we're going to just sort of give you a demonstration. Normally this would be on the inside of the lid, but we're going to go ahead and mount this switch up, and as a test, we've got two of the heating pads, the in-between cell heating pads, and we'll just sort of see how that works. So let me connect it, and then we'll sort of see how this all works. All right, so what we've done is the thermal probe of the switch, we put it inside some ice to simulate cold temperature. We have the positive attached to the positive, the negative attached to the negative, and the output power of the switch is connected to two of these pads. And currently, we actually also have the monitor running on this battery, and we can kind of see it's on standby. So we're going to arm the switch, which the number one is going to be the eco mode. It will basically keep running the power until it reaches about 60 degrees, and then it'll shut off. And number two, like it's about 70 internal. 3 is 80. And then 4 and 5 are your timer modes, which basically will keep temperature around 70 degrees internal. 4 is a 12-hour timer mode. After 12 hours, it'll disconnect power. And 5 is a 24-hour mode. So let's go ahead and turn it on and set it to mode 1. To do that, we just press and hold. And we see I have 1. Okay. And since it's cold enough, it will actually start drawing. So we are drawing about... Let's see here. We're drawing about 117 watts and about 8.9 amps. So the in-between will use a little more. They usually are rated for about, let's see here. They're usually rated for about 50 or so watts, but depending on the voltage of your battery, it will draw a little more. And as the voltage comes down, it will draw a little less. But as you can see, this will start heating these up, and man, they're getting warm already. So it wouldn't be long before the internal temperature of your cells, gets up there. But anyway, this sort of will run until the internal temperature will go. But since we have it put in ice, we're fooling the temperature probe. So let's actually go ahead and take this temperature probe out and start warming it up by just holding it, and we should see the power stop. Okay, and that basically meant the internal temperature was warm enough, or is at least 60 degrees, so that's going to cut off power. So yeah, this is basically how the switch will work. It is going to basically run for until your internal temperature is warm enough, and then it'll cycle on and off. So when it gets cold again, it's going to start running again. So if I put it on the ice bag, you'll see that it'll probably kick on in a minute. See? Yep, it kicked on. So right around 9 amps is what it's going to be drawing. And 8.9, 8 point something. And that will keep running until it sort of gets internal temperature there, and then it'll cut off. Anyway, that's a little bit about that. This should be available in some of our pre-made batteries soon, probably V4. So probably about 2 to 2.5 months out, depending on COVID lockdowns and whatnot. And then based on that, we'll sort of have these options available. All right, thank you very much.